if it's like you've got a lot of other articles out there, the article that you wrote, I fought the law and the law won. That's when I think I realized that I knew there was something wrong with me, but when I read that article, I was like, holy crap, I'm going through burnout because it was the same stuff.
Well, and I think that's, I mean, part of the reason why I wrote that article is to talk a little bit about my own story, of course, because that's where I was. I mean, this was more than 10 years ago, but I remember it vividly. I remember the entire process, and it was more than a year of just feeling completely horrible. And I remember too, like I didn't know what burnout was. I mean, I knew there was a word called burnout, but I didn't know that it was now applying to me. I didn't know kind of what the symptoms were or the warning signs or what should I have been doing differently, or everyone else looks fine. What is it about me that is all of a sudden it seemed not able to kind of deal with my stress? And so I get it. I think there's still so much education that has to be done all across the board in terms of understanding what it is that we're really talking about right now. Because I think we misuse the term a lot. I think we use it in place of just the word stress. So, like, we come home and we have a bad day or we have a stressful day. I guess we're not coming home, we're still home. And we say, oh my gosh, I'm so burned out. When we might mean, I've just had a stressful day. And so we've blurred what burnout is, and we've lost the distinction between that and stress.
When you decided to leave, when you were a lawyer, did you know that you were going through burnout? Did you know about burnout then, or did you just know that you were really stressed out and something had to change?
So my burnout lasted, I would say, at least about a year. And initially, no, I didn't know. And I think this is very common for people. You sort of enter that space where you feel exhausted more frequently. Things just start to shift, and you notice that, wow, I just went through my busy season, for example, and I'm not bouncing back to my normal stress levels the way that I used to. Like those small little shifts started to happen, and I started to really just way over prioritize work. So I stopped playing co-ed softball. Like I stopped playing, my co-ed touch football leagues and all of the sports stuff that I like to do. I stopped hanging out with my friends as much. So it was just that progression over time. Kind of adding up, and then I started to feel really cynical. So I now know that that is a big dimension of burnout. So that's not my personality, but people just started to bug me, and my clients, like, you really, like, we have to have this call again, can't you handle this on your own? Like, you're not going to listen to my advice anyway, so why are we doing this? Never said that to them, but internally that's how I was thinking about all of this. And then felt that sense of relief, I think, once I had identified the pastry opportunity, and then really sunk once I realized that wasn't going to happen. And then I started to get pretty sick. So I started to notice that. So I practiced commercial real estate law. So every time I would close a deal, and I was closing multiple deals a month, like, the adrenaline kept me focused and lawyering well. But then when it stopped, I would get a headache, or I would get a cold, or I would get a stomach ache. And that started to happen frequently, like monthly, at least monthly. And then that progressed into, I started to have panic attacks. So my anxiety started to resurface. And then that got worse. And then I ended up in the emergency room twice because I had really bad stomach aches and needed some help with that. And so it was this kind of year-long progression of, yeah, I'm just stressed and kind of trying to deal with that, into really a very not great position for a little bit of time. And it was really at that point, I mean, I remember walking out of the emergency room like the second time thinking, this is really stupid. Like, I have to I have to figure this out. And that was really when the powerful shift made it so that I was like, I got to figure this out now, and I've just got to make a shift. And so I always encourage people, like, recognize when you're back at that kind of initial point, because there's way more that we can do to kind of help that, versus when you're walking out of the emergency room for the second time and you realize, like, this can't go on, or you're just going to have a breakdown. So